Hey, good morning. All right, so I got a problem here that I've been asked about by a couple of students. The area of a triangle is given by the formula A is equal to 1/2 base times height. The triangle pictured below has an area of 81 square units. Your height of the triangle is x plus 2. The base of the triangle is 2x plus 4. Now, the question is asking you to find the base and the height. But how the question is asking you to find it, that's where it's starting to trip up a lot of students because it's wanting to break it up into each individual piece. All right, so and actually we're going to go through each individual piece just just all in detail. All right, so the very first thing it's asking you to do is what is the base and the height? What are the expressions for the base and the height? Well, the height, like we just mentioned, was x plus 2. The base was 2x plus 4. So there's the first part of the problem right there. Now the second part is asking you to actually plug in that information into the area formula. Well, we got the formula. A is equal to 1/2 base times height. So your area is 81 square units. So 81 is going to go in place of A. And then we got 1/2. Your base is 2x plus 4. And your height is x plus 2. Okay? That's the second part of the problem. All it's asking you to do is just plug in the information into the formula. Now, this is where some students did have a question about. What in the world is it asking me to do with that fraction? Well, the fraction is just like any other fraction. It's 1 divided by 2. Okay? It's a division. In order to get rid of a division, we have to multiply. We have to do the opposite. But what we multiply, and we have to do it on both sides, that can be a little tricky. So, in order for us to get rid of a fraction, we multiply both sides of this equation by the reciprocal of 1/2. In other words, we multiply both sides by, instead of a 1 divided by 2, we multiply it by 2 divided by 1. In other words, if we multiply it by the flipped version of 1/2, which is 2 over 1. Now remember, we've got to do it to both sides of the equation. Well, what happens? Well, since all this right here is multiplied, this 2 cancels out with this 2 right here. They divide out, if you want to think about it like that. And this 1 cancels out with this 1 here. So all you're left with on the right-hand side is simply a 2x plus 4 times an x plus 2. Now over on the left-hand side, we've got a 2 over 1 times, technically, an 81 over 1. If you want to think about it like that. A lot of students do. In other words, just multiply the 2 and the 81 together. Well, what do you get? 2 times 81, that should get you 162. So, in other words, let's kind of backtrack. What to do with that 1/2? You multiply both sides by 2 over 1, or you can multiply both sides by 2. It works the same way. That's how you get rid of a fraction. That's how you remove the fraction of 1/2. Now, let's say, for instance, if you had, just off topic, if you had a 3 over 4, well, then you will multiply both sides by 4 over 3. Okay, you flip it and multiply. All right, so here, like I said, you multiply both sides of your equation by 2 over 1, or simply just by 2. And that's how you get rid of a fraction. Now, we got 162 equals 2x plus 4 times x plus 2. Well, we're going to be starting to solve a quadratic equation. Now, anytime you solve a quadratic equation, your equation always has to be equal to 0. That's what standard form is. So in order for us to go ahead and proceed with this, we've got to multiply our factors together. We've got to FOIL these guys out. You remember FOIL? First, outer, inner, last. All right? That's the FOIL method. That's how we multiply factors. So when we go ahead and proceed with this, well, it's still 162. But when we FOIL this out, 2x times x, well, that gets us a 2x squared. 2x times 2, 4x. 4 times x, another 4x. And then 4 times 2, well, that gets us a positive 8. So in other words, we've got a FOIL. All right, that's going to be the next step. And guess what? We already did that. Now to clean this up, we start combining our like terms. So we got two like terms in the middle here. So that's 162, 2x squared. Well, the 4x and the 4x, well, that combines to an 8x. And then plus 8. So we got 162 equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 8. All right, so this 2 up here on the exponent, that tells us that we're going to have a quadratic equation. Now, in order to solve any type of quadratic equation, you've got to have your equation equal to 0. So, in order for us to go ahead with this, we've got to take this 162 and move it to the other side. Now, how we do that, that's a positive 162. The opposite of a positive is a negative. So, what we're going to do, we're going to take a minus 162 to both sides. We're going to subtract 162 on both sides. So, when we subtract 162 from both sides, I'm actually going to bring my equation right up here. And I'm going to break out my handy dandy calculator. So we get 0 equals 2x squared plus 8x. I have no idea why I'm doing this, because that's simple addition and subtraction. It's early in the morning. It happens. All right, so we now have our equation in standard form. Can y'all see that? Yeah, y'all can. 2x squared plus 8x minus 154 equals 0. All right. Now, where do we go from here? Well, if you see each of your numbers here, you see each of your terms, they're all what kind of numbers? They're even numbers. If they're even, all even numbers are at least divisible by 2. So in other words, you can yank out a 2 from each term. You can take out a greatest common factor of 2. So if you take out a 2, well, 2 divided by 2, well, that just gets us a 1. Okay, we don't have to do anything with that. But we do have this x squared term left up. So we've got to put that in our parentheses. Now, 8 divided by 2, well, that gets us a 4x. 4x. And now, 154 divided by 2. Let's see here. My arithmetic is rusty this morning. I haven't had my coffee yet. 77. All right, and it's still equal to 0. That's what we do when we factor out the greatest common factor. 2 can go into each term, so we yank it out, and the reason why we do that, it makes our numbers a little bit smaller when we go ahead and factor. Now, the book does this a little differently than what I would do, but it's still legitimate. They divided both sides by 2. And the reason why they would do that is so they can get rid of this 2 on the outside right here. Because this is 2 times this factor. What undoes a times is division. So when we go ahead and divide both sides by 2, well, these 2's go away. Well, 0 divided by 2, well, 0 divided by anything, well, that gets us a 0. And all we have left with is an x squared plus 4x plus 77. And now we got to keep on going. X squared plus 4x plus 77. Well, this is when we have to factor. This is when we have to put it in 2 parentheses. So we got to figure out what goes into 77 that would also add to a 4x. Okay? I did that for a reason. What times what gets you 77 that will add up to a 4x. And this tells you what you're going to be adding, if it's going to be adding or subtraction. So let's figure out what times what goes into 77. List the factors of 77. Well, 1 is 77. That's pretty basic. 2, no. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and 7. Ooh, I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, goodness. Can anyone catch it? Take a little bit to see what you think. Okay, here's the mistake I made. That should be a minus sign. See how easy it is to do that? You know how I figured it out? When I started listing the factors, 1 and 77 don't add up to a 4. 11 and 7 don't add up to 4. I know it has to factor, so something went wrong. That's how I figured it out. So this would be a minus 77. Now, let's backtrack real quick. What times what would give you 77 that will subtract to a positive 4? Aha! 77, let's see here. 1 and 77, 11 and 7. Haha, guess what? If you take 11 minus 7, well, that gets you a 4. There we go. All right, so let's actually write out the factors. Well, what times what gets you x squared? Well, that's just x and x. Since this is positive and this is negative, one parenthesis is going to have a positive, one parenthesis is going to have a negative. Okay? That's the general rule whenever you do factoring. If this sign is positive and this sign is negative, one's positive, one's a negative. Okay? And you got to play around with that. So just like we said, 11 minus 7, well, that gets you a 4. Well, 11 minus 7. That gets you a 4. There we go. Now, how to double check it? I'm not going to actually write it on the board, but if you FOIL this out, like x times x, x times negative 7, 11 times x, and 11 times negative 7, you should end up with what you started with right here. Excuse me. All right, that's how you can make sure that you FOILed it out or you factored it out correctly. All right? And I recommend that to every student who does factoring because it's trial and error factoring. So whenever we verify that this is actually factored correctly, we set each factor equal to 0. It's a zero product property or the zero factor property. So many different names for that one. AKA set each parentheses equal to 0. So that means we would have 0 equals x plus 11 and 0 equals x minus 7. Then we have two teeny tiny equations. Well, when we solve each little equation, well, that means we would have negative 11 equals x and 7 equals x. Oh man, we got two values for x. Which one do we choose? That's the interesting part. Well, let's go ahead and plug it back in. Here's the fun part. Here's another fun part too. If you take a negative 11 and you plug it in for your x in your original pictures. Here's something cool. Negative 11, if you plug it into the height, negative 11 plus 2, well, that gets you a negative 9. Can any geometric figure, can you have a negative measurement? No. Then you get into some really funky stuff like, Back to the Future kind of thing. All right? So you can never have a negative measurement, a negative height, negative base. You can never go into a house and take a negative square feet. There we go. So you can never drive to Los Angeles and go negative miles. Unless you drive to Los Angeles in reverse. If you can do that, we need to talk. So, in other words, if I plug in a negative 11 into any part of my triangle, it doesn't work. So guess what? I can throw that away. I can just cancel that out. Throw it away. Now, if I plug in a 7 in for the height and for the base, well, for the height, 7 plus 2, well, that gets me a height of 9. Okay. So your height is going to be 9 when you plug in 7 in for that little x right there. Now to find the base, we do the 7, but we plug it in for the other guy. We plug in for this little x down here. So this would be 2 times 7, which would be 2 times 7, which is 14. And 14 plus 4, well, that gets us a base of 18. And there we go. Our height is going to be 9 square units, and our base is going to be 18 square units. Just like that. So, as always, let me know if you guys have any questions of any kind. I do apologize for this little mistake right up here with that sign. It is early in the morning. It's 8:30 right now, Central Time. Haven't had the coffee yet, so I apologize. But definitely let me know if you guys have any questions of any kind. I don't mind helping. I love questions. It just might take me a little bit to make the videos, simply because my colleges are open on Monday through Fridays, and it's kind of hard to make the videos like this on the weekends. But like I said, come at me with the questions, guys. I'm happy to help, okay?